This week on TGC News, it's a gun industry special episode. Vortex opens a training facility. Smith & Wesson doubles their earnings. And background check numbers for January and February. Let's do it.
Yeah. Just because I'm addicted to caffeine does not mean that I have to settle for coffee. Blackout coffee. Yeah.
To get 10% off your entire order, go to blackoutcoffee.com and use the code TGC. That's blackoutcoffee.com/TGC and use the code TGC. Welcome back to another episode of TGC News, the only gun news show that covers things you actually care about. My name is John Patton. This week is going to be a little bit different. When I went digging for new products that were worth sharing and not just, look, a new color of the same gun we've been releasing for a while, I came up with nothing. That being said, there is a bunch of gundustry news, so we are going to do a bit of a gundustry special this week. Stick around until the end because we are going to talk about the background check numbers so far this year. And you guys are definitely going to want to see that. First up this week, Vortex was recently hyping something on their social called Vortex Edge. They were taking the classic, you guys are going to want to see this type approach, which has let us down many times in the past. Remember how much hype Springfield built up for the letdown that was the Saint rifles? Yep. That in mind, I told them it better be good or I was going to publicly shame them. I actually said that. It's now out of the bag, and while it's not something that is groundbreaking, it is worth talking about. Long story shorter, Vortex now has one of the most well-rounded shooting and training facilities around. Their indoor ranges include a 25-yard, of course, a 50-yard, and even a 100-yard indoor range. That's rad. They also have a full-on simulator with the ability to break down each individual shot fired, as well as a shoot house for use with sim rounds. There's also a 1,000-yard range for precision shooting just down the road from the main building. All in all, it sounds pretty rad to me. Maybe we should do like a side-by-side comparison of the Edge facility and our friends over at MTAC, their facility in Indiana. That'd be cool to see them compared. Honestly, as the gun industry continues to evolve and the community grows, the need for places like this grows with it. It is so important to have actual good training to accompany the cool guns that we carry. I also think it's very interesting to see an optic manufacturer branching out and having a facility that is sort of complementary to their main business. Leupold did the same thing with the Leupold Optics Academy. I am curious to know what you guys think of this. Do you think that this makes sense? Would you travel to a place like this? You know, obviously it's a stationary place. You can't bring it to your house. Would you go there? Sound off below, and let's talk about it. Also in gundustry news this week, the Pentagon announced that they have awarded Winchester with a $37 million contract to produce ammo, specifically 5.56, 7.62, and 50 BMG. I guess with that budget, they'll probably only get like, I don't know, one box each. Zing! The contract is set to run for 5 years until March 14th, 2026 to be exact, and the ammo will be made in their Oxford, Mississippi plant. This is on the back of a $75 million contract they got last year for basically the same thing and a few others beyond that. This brings to mind a few things. Winchester is gaining a larger presence in the military sector than I assumed they might. When I think of Winchester, I think of shotgun shells and hunting ammo. And not much else. Not military-based stuff. Before now, I always associated Federal as the military ammo company. Probably because they were in charge of the Lake City plant for a long time. Until 2019, when Winchester took over. On top of that, this reminds me that we spend an enormous amount of money as a country on ammunition for our militaries. Also in gun industry news this week, FN announced that Nato has adopted their FN57 cartridge under their small arms ammunition portfolio. What this essentially means is that using the NATO standard allows for interchangeability among all the platforms where this might be used, and even amongst countries and things like that. What this means for the gun industry here in the US is that 5.7 is on the rise, and you slowpokes need to start making guns and ammo for it. CMMG, Ruger, and Diamondback have all jumped on it in recent times, and I'd love to see more brands adopting it. 5.7 is a really fun round to shoot, and it's certainly not the king of the mountain, but it is still quite good. And rounding out this segment, Smith & Wesson announced their third quarter 2021 earnings, and hold up. How the f*** is it already third quarter? This fiscal calendar BS makes my brain hurt. The third quarter actually ended on January 31st. Again, what? What? Anyway, the key takeaways here are the earnings. This time they reported $257.6 million, and comparing that to last year's $127.4 million during the same time, that is over a 102% increase. Holy crap! They more than doubled. Now, let's keep in mind that that time frame included the election, and that has a lot to do with it, but still, more than double earnings is massive. Hey, Smith & Wesson, let me get $1. Vertex makes some of the best EDC bags and gear around. Whether you're looking for a backpack, a messenger bag, or maybe something for your pup. They've got features like a rapid access weapon compartment, padded backing, a hot pull tab for quick access to the main compartment, and much, much more. Oh, and did I mention their jeans make my legs look better? Seriously, I can do so many high kicks in these. And guys, if you want to get a huge discount, head over to Vertex, that's VERTX.com, and use our code TGC to get a whopping 25% off everything. Go do it. And now it's time for something you guys know and love. The FBI reports on background checks. For those that are unaware, we've been covering these numbers all throughout the pandemic, and it's been insane. In 2020, we set a record every single month, and it looks like 2021 is off to a blazing start as well. Being that we are shoving this into TGC News, because we kind of have to, we're going to distill this down a bit more than normal. First, let's talk about the January numbers. In January 2021, there were over 4.3 million background checks performed. That is astonishing, especially when you consider the numbers from just a year ago were 1.6 million less, and it still set a record. Not only did we destroy the January record, but we also destroyed the highest ever reported in any month by about 400,000. Now, if we move on to February 2021, we see a drastic drop-off, but somehow still another record-setting month. Last year was a record, then we set it again. Even though we were down a little under 900,000 from January, it still set the record for any February in U.S. history with a total of 3.4 million checks. That right there is substantial. Now, let's try to give it some context. These numbers aren't a one-for-one exchange with guns sold, but it is a fun game to play, so here we go. With the January numbers, we could arm anyone in Kuwait one time, or everyone in Equatorial Guinea 3 times over. I don't know why we would, but there you go. With the February numbers, we could arm everyone in Uruguay once, everyone in Bahrain twice, or everyone in Macau 5 times with some left over. It's pretty staggering, really. Now, let's try to discuss why the numbers dropped in February. I really hate saying that month. I suspect a lot of it has to do with 3 factors. Number 1, election fatigue. Everyone has been taking a sort of breath, like exhale, after the election and sort of hitting pause. Not only that, but there was a massive cold snap that affected a huge part of the country for most of the month. We here in PA got more snow in February than I remember seeing in ages. On top of that, inventory levels are struggling to keep up with demand. Combine all of that, and we somehow still had a record-setting month. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what was the biggest factor for the total sort of dropping slightly, and what this could mean for the rest of the year. I want to know what you guys think on that. Sound off below, and let's hear your thoughts. It's now time for Friendly Fire, the segment where I answer questions from you guys. This time, our questions are coming from the TGC Nation Facebook group. Since it's a gun industry news special episode, I tried to select questions that were more related to gun industry as a whole. Our first question is from Robert Baker, and he says, with all the new gun owners, are there any new ammo manufacturer companies to fill the void? I think the bigger challenge in filling that void is companies to make the raw materials to make ammo. For instance, lead refineries for lead-based projectiles, or companies to make primers and powder. The issue of ammo availability goes far deeper than just putting ammo together. The raw materials have to come together as well. Bobby Latkin says, now that CZ has acquired Colt, we actually covered that a couple weeks back, will we see any joint projects like the Z40 from back in the day? Honestly, I didn't even know about that gun. Honestly, I freaking hope so. CZ has come out with some great stuff in recent years, and I'd love to see the Colt branding on something incredible. Austin McCoy says, why are companies still pushing 300 Blackout stuff? According to him, 6.5 Grendel, 6.8 SPC, and 450 Bushmaster are more popular. Hi, Austin. My name is John. It's okay to admit that you have a drinking problem. Seriously, 300 Blackout is not falling out of popularity and taking a backseat to any of the calibers that you just mentioned. It's just not. My Friendly Fire question to you guys this week. What should CZ and Colt make together? What gun should they come out with? Sound off in the comments below, and if you want to ask a Friendly Fire question, jump over to theguncollective.com and send it our way. If you guys enjoyed this episode and you want to see maybe an ad-free version, check us out on floatplane.com. And after you click the like button on this video, hit that button, be sure to hit the secret affiliate link down in the description. That would be a massive help for us. And of course, don't forget to get subscribed for more gun news every single week. And as always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon. Yep, it's over, but don't worry, you can click on the video up top to watch last week's show, and the one below that is the one that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Check them out and let me know what you think.